UNESCO statistics show that the number of Chinese studying abroad accounted for 14% of the global total. In the main study personnel dispatched countries, the number of Chinese students topped the list. In 2010, China overtook India to become a country with the largest number of students in the United States and the United Kingdom. According to Canada, Russia, Japan, and other countries' statistics, China has become the country's largest student enrollment. From the Blue Book of China Study Development Report 2012, said in 1978 to 2011, the total number of personnel returning from overseas reached 818,400. The return rate was 36.5%. UK is the second largest Chinese student study abroad destination country, as can be seen from the chart. Since the 2008 to 2009 school year in the UK, the number of studying abroad of China is increasing. According to the British Higher Education Statistics data shows that the 2012 to 2013 school year first registered the number of Chinese students in college and universities in UK is 56,535. Compared with 2008 to 2009 school year, the number have nearly doubled.
For Chinese students, studying abroad in terms of many changes in many aspects. They begin to live in different cultures, lifestyles, and social networks. They have to face the separated with familiar hometown, family, and friends. However, most of the contemporary Chinese students born in the context of family planning policies. As the only child of the family, they are the center of the family and was given the best care. But as an international student, and their cross-cultural adaptation has the dual identity as foreigners and students. In addition to adapt the process of integration with the host university, but they must also help to adapt the changing cultural context of the psychological and social cultural adaptation.
Let's look at a specific data from Sharon Chen, who's the regional manager in the international office of Birmingham City University.
The percentage for Chinese students among the international students is quite high. This has been the majority international students group. We've got about relevant to 36% Chinese students among of the international students.
The motivation for studying abroad plays a key role in the results of cross-cultural integration. We also had one of the consultants who works in one of the Chinese most famous studying abroad service agency, Xindong Vision Overseas, and to tell us why could more and more people choose to study in UK.
I think it has three major reasons that attract more and more students and parents choose the UK for further study. The first reason is the master degree system just has 1 year. And then the master degree of England is becoming a symbol of the competitiveness of the job market. And the last reason is a relative easy access system for the UK postgraduate courses.
To study abroad is my own decision, and my parents support me as well. My original intention is to pursue advanced studies and learn a bountiful life.
China currently has at least 400,000 personnel overseas. The new generation face issues of identity and belonging. International students often need to seek emotional help from their compatriots. In dealing with their natives, students largely enhance their self-esteem and get a cultural identity.
A lot of Chinese students, when they just arrived for the first or 2 weeks, they are suffering the cultural shock. So they will, especially for the female students, they are quite homesick, and some of them are said, they said, okay, oh, I missed my parents, I missed my family. I feel that the food is not that nice. compared with what I have had in home.
In an interview with the school administrators, however, we also learned that Chinese students rarely go for help with the teacher or the school's professionals until the problem gets worse. The strategy of Chinese students with psychological pressure still rely mainly on their fellows' help.
When confronted with some psychological problems, such as lost and homesick, I do not want revealed those negative things to foreigners. Moreover, even if I put my mental difficulties to foreign friends or counselors to talk, they do not fully understand because they are not Chinese and they cannot understand our culture.
In addition, Chinese students think that the British local students are more difficult to communicate. Their communicate with local students are limited to the surface level. Most of their foreign friends are international students from other countries. International students often need to seek emotional help from their compatriots. In dealing with their natives, students largely enhance their self-esteem and get a cultural identity.
I don't have many connections with the local British students. First, there weren't too many British people in our class, and then the local student didn't show many interest to chat with me.
I don't know what other people think, but for me, I didn't know much about the local students, unless the academic topics. I don't know what they like or what should we talk about. Many studies find that cultural integration capabilities will be more stronger than the students' more contacts and exchanges with foreigners. Most of the Chinese students live in the Chinese community, although they also have some local friends in other countries, but the link between them is not very frequent and close. Most Chinese students still live in a social circle among compatriots. Interview data from the teachers and administrative staff also reflects the Chinese students are more willing to stay with Chinese groups.
The social skills of us are very limited in the school where we didn't feel uncomfortable. It is because most of the time we're living in Chinese communities. However, when we came to a broader community, I deeply feel that because of lack of necessary knowledge and a lot of inconvenience.
They influenced the cultural environment of the normal communication with the outside world. Their social language ability significantly lower than the academic language skills. The language barriers run through the whole process of intercultural adaptation of the students. Similarly, we also find that the psychological problems of some Chinese students are caused by the academic achievement gap and weakness.
After 1 or 2 years of undergraduate study, I think the biggest problem is not too suited to start those habits. But when you really put yourself into academic, you will find there are too many difficulties are not thought of before. For example, when I was a freshman and wrote my first commercial report, I wasn't familiar with writing routines and expertise, and I even don't know how to use the English literature reference guidelines. I was feel very helpless. Well, I also dissatisfied with my performance in the classroom because I didn't dare to take the initiative to ask the questions and answer the questions, which at the time I felt that Moodle. So I think the most difficult problem to adapt is academic problem.
However, when they began to adapt to the requirements of the UK's learning progress, their psychological difficulties started to decrease.
After the adoption of such academic requirements, I found my own state of mind are getting better. I also have a greater willingness to complete my studies than go for better results.
In the world, after the international students learn to adapt to the requirements of the study in UK, their psychological integration basically in a good condition. Differences between Eastern and Western education idea and philosophy are obvious.
Our university, we are the new university and we are practical-based university. So we are hoping the students can learn the theoretical as well as the practical stuffs in the university.
In China, all we do is just following the tutor's side, and we just study for passing the exams. We don't have enough space to do what we want to do.
We also consult one of a psychology lecturer who working in Birmingham City University and talking about something about mental activities.
So mental activities are very important, and people underestimate how difference between how you think and how you're supposed to think in a different country. You think that you kind of assume that it's all the same, but there are huge differences.
Generally speaking, motivation is all the reason that can affect students' adaptation in many aspects. And we can see from the graphic, the personal growth path of Chinese overseas students is connected with the adaptations. Under the employment market has become more and more severe situation in China, Chinese students are becoming more and more tend to find a job in the UK when they graduated.
Nowadays, more and more Chinese students have decided to stay in UK after they graduated. They would like to find a job first, to have working experience, then they can find a better job opportunity after they come back to China. But also some students, they are running their own business in UK, and because UK is not an immigration country, so the Chinese students nowadays are doing the business like investment to support them to have the visa and for further development. Then more and more Chinese students after they graduated, they will stay in UK.
I already got a part-time job here in the travel agency at the summer vacation. Maybe I will still work in that company when I got the work visa after I graduated. I will back to Taiwan this Saturday and then stay for 1 month. Then I will back here. I will move into London. I want to find a job there. And if I find a job, I will stay here. But if I don't, I will back to my home. I will travel to Europe and then back to Taiwan in the end of September. Then find a job. The plan in the future, I hope I can find a job first in here. If it failed, then I will come back to China. It might be a while, probably not going back soon. Maybe waiting another 4 or 5 years if I have a great opportunity.
Students' language ability, the communication times with the host university, and the cultural differences are the main reasons that can affect the ability of students' intercultural adaptation. Therefore, how to strengthen and improve students' language ability, create more chance of communicate with the host country for the international students, and reduce the difficulties caused by cultural differences are the key to improve students' intercultural adaptation ability. At the same time, how to encourage Chinese students to participate in local social activities is not only a unilateral effort by the students themselves, but schools should also provide some opportunities and planning to make the students increase likelihood of communion and psychological adaptations. At the last, we hope that family, school, and society could pay more attention in the growing body of international students in China.